Rule changes for the 2021 AFL season are being finalised. The man overseeing those changes, Stephen Hocking from the AFL Football Operations Department, is with us. Steve, today you have made the decision to reduce the amount of interchanges for clubs down from 90 in 2020 to 75 in 21.
That's correct, Damo. We met as a comp committee today and just ratified those changes. We've got full approval from the AFL Commission as well, and they will be reduced to 75 in 21.
Yep. Reasoning behind that?
Look, the main reason is just to try and open up congestion across the ground. There's a lot of high pressure game styles that have now kicked in, and we saw that right through 2019 and also into 2020 as well. Even though the season was adjusted, we found that the pressure factor's actually increased, and it's been on the increase for about 5 years now. So our belief is that we just need to put a little bit of fatigue back into the system and recalibrate that part of the game, and hopefully have a result of opening the game up further.
Fatigue works in this overall picture.
Yeah, look, I think so, Dave. And I think the other part of it is, the fans out there will probably look at it and think through, well, why not go a larger number? We're looking after the player health and safety throughout that. We don't want to disrupt the game too much, and so this is incremental change, and we'll remain open on what it looks like for 22.
Yep. The length of quarters, I know it's going to be increased. The industry seems to know that. What number will it be? 16 minutes plus time on in 2020? Will it be back to 20 minutes in 2021?
Look, the thing that we're still working through with broadcasters, we just need time on that one, but Gil and myself have been chatting to this certainly over the last month or so, and throughout the season as well, that we won't be going back to 16-minute quarters. It will be lengthened. Just where that lands is still to be confirmed, and we'll work through with relevant stakeholders on that one.
Among the changes, there's a change to the way the umpires will adjudicate the person standing on the mark. Can you take us through how that works and what it means?
Yeah, so Damo, one of the things with defence, the first form of defence is delay, and so in our game we've seen more and more of that. We showed the comp committee today a range of vision across multiple games in 2020 where the player continues to move laterally, and what we're going to be doing moving forward is just pinning that guy to the mark. You can't come from behind the player that's received the free kick or taken the mark. You can't hand the mark over either. So, the player that is there at the time actually stands the mark. They'll have a little bit of tolerance around that, but we'll work through the specifics of that, with our officiators. But we think that will open up the game. It'll open up the 45 coming out of half-back, and they'll be losing less real estate, which is what's been happening with the players that are manning the mark. Currently, the way it works is the player that's won the right to actually have possession of the ball, as soon as that player moves off his line, it's play on, whereas a player standing the mark currently can move up to 5 to 6 metres.
Okay, so what will be the level of tolerance, to use your phrase there, on this new rule?
Look, definitely there'll be probably a meterage, a total of a metre, and so it'll be a step either side of where it's been pointed out the mark is, and we just think that players it'll open up so much more of the game for the attacking
45
team.
being the key.
Yeah,
45
absolutely.
take-off kick.
Yeah, and we may even get back to where the players actually take the player on the mark. We don't see a lot of that nowadays.
So is that impacting on the person that comes in behind the person on the mark to also lace?
Yes.
Yeah,
okay.
Absolutely.
You can't shepherd either now, so we're going to be fairly strict on that, because we think it'll actually make quite a difference to the game.
That is significant when you explain it that way, and that will be impacted by a 50-metre penalty upon
Correct.
transgression.
That's right. Yeah.
You made changes to the kick-out rules recently.
Yes.
The man or person on the mark is 10 metres in front of the person kicking the ball out from behind.
That's right.
What will that be in 2021?
So we'll take that out to 15 metres, and the reason for that is we've seen, certainly not in 2019 when that rule was introduced into the game. We saw it more in 2020. Clubs had really worked on the kick-ins. We believe by shifting it back by another 5 metres, so 15 metres in total from the top of the square, will actually push all of the zone back further and get the ball out into more open space.
So all these decisions are designed on creating space and hopefully, in your eyes, coming together as they are now in this one announcement. with the length of the quarter still to come, it's all going to work for you in that greater game.
Yeah, that's our belief. Look, we just want more time and space back in the game. I think that everybody, the fans are looking for a better balance between defence and attack. And the game is definitely swayed towards defence. And my role in that as custodian of it is to make sure that the right things are introduced to try and open the game back up and have more Dustin Martin moments. That he did in the grand final, where he was able to just find space. We're looking to create more of those because that's why the fans love the game as much as what they do. So that's my role, and I'm committed to finding that space.
Yep. Season length, it's down to 17 this year for COVID-19 reasons. Just a given that it goes back to at least 22 matches.
Yeah, definitely. I think wherever we can, we're looking to return as much as we can back to what it was like. All the fans are looking for that as well. And
while that's a given, it'll be at least 22. Is it possible, as we speak today, that it could be even more than 22 per match?
Look, all being worked through that. It's it's certainly something that is on the table and being talked about, but nothing
not
firmed up.
Decision. The fixturing itself, the footy frenzy as it became known, worked, almost universally accepted by the industry.
Yes.
Will that be a component, not necessarily the entire season, but will there be a component of that in the 2021 fixturing?
Yeah, the feedback has certainly been that all the clubs and players embraced it. We obviously worked through 2 phases of that. What that looks like in 21, again, we'll work through that. That's something that needs to be worked through with the broadcasters and all key stakeholders, but it's certainly something we've got an appetite to consider.
Has been talk, Steve, about the possibility of players being anchored in zones on the ground for stoppages. That obviously is now not happening in 2021.
No, we're not going to do it in the AFL, but we will do it in the VFL East Coast competition. And the reason for that is it's a fundamental change to the game. It's significant. And so with that competition, we've got the ability to trial that right throughout a whole season. We'll also run a study alongside that as well, parallel to it, and make sure that we pull out the right information. That'll look like 3 pairs inside the forward 50 at every boundary throw-in. And also kick-ins as well.
Boundary and kick-ins?
Yes.
Not stoppages?
No.
Okay.
And so we'll monitor that. We'll certainly work through all the relevant mechanics of that, but we're pretty keen to see what that will look like in that competition and analyse it over a whole 12 months, a whole season, and see what the result of it is.
Thanks, Steve.
Thanks, Tony.